Let's go ahead.
I can't risk. It's missing a gun.
I was getting the stink out.
It'll be a bad deal.
All right, good evening and welcome to the City of Sunbury Council meeting. It's January 17th, 2024, 7:30 PM. Would you please join me in a moment of silent prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance? Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Got to make up a little time. Roll call, please.
Mayor St. John,
Here.
Mr. Capel.
Here.
Mrs. Strayer. Here. Mr. Knapp.
Here.
Mr. Grumby.
Here.
Mr. Martin.
Here.
Mrs. Cooper. Here. 7 present.
We last met on January 3rd, 2024. There are meeting minutes needing approval.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Cooper.
Second.
Second by Mr. Capel. Discussion?
Yes, under the administrator's report, it says that the fire board talked about raising tax money to build a police station. And I think that's supposed to be a fire station.
You're
They're just, they're spreading the word.
What's the difference?
I think we've got a commitment to update that.
I will get it updated.
Thank you.
Any other updates? Roll call with the amended changes?
Mrs. Cooper? Yes. Mr. Capel?
Yes.
Ms. Strayer? Yes. Mayor St. John?
Yes.
Mr. Knapp?
Yes.
Mr. Grumby?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
7 yeas.
All right, we are on to the visitor section. Do we have any visitors? We have the health district here tonight. Hello.
How are you? Thank you.
Going to sleep at 12 hours.
Haley Burleson from the Health District. I just have information about the solar eclipse, just kind of our part in it. We are doing temporary campground permits and temporary food permits. So if you guys have any questions about that.
That's great. Where are you advertising?
So we have some information, on our website, you can apply for the permits. Also, we're listed on the EMA website. If you guys aren't aware, the EMA put together a website specific for the solar eclipse, and you can find us on there too. I think I was told to let you guys know that I think Delaware County EMA, they're hosting a roundtable to go over just kind of planning and preparedness on March 7th. So if you're interested in that, let me know too, and I can give you more information.
Thank you. If you Google solar eclipse, I did the other day, Ohio has a whole web page dedicated to it, and then also drill down pages to the emergency management administration for each particular county and talks about their plans. But I imagine we'll have EMA here probably one time between now and the eclipse. Just on a side note, we have the State of the City coming up, and I tried to make a theme around the eclipse, and it's not really working out, taking dark to light, and I'm like, so I backed out of that, but I will reference the eclipse. I just wanted you to know in the State of the City.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
All right, thank you. Any other visitors? All right, we are on the committee reports. Ms. Dreyer? Not yet.
Not yet.
All right, Mr. Gumby.
Yes, we had our first finance committee meeting of the year and covered some important topics. Just quickly, we talked about a tool, specifically OpenGov, gave a presentation on basically a digital tool to take a look at our infrastructure and how we handle permits, whether that's through planning, zoning, code enforcement, et cetera. And they walked us through their software tool. I answered a lot of questions. It was very informative. I appreciate their time for coming in and providing that demo. We briefly talked about some other tools, zoning software proposals briefly, asking for some more information. And then we talked about asset management proposals, giving valuations to help meet the gap in the GASB requirements. That is something that we're going to have to make a decision on, and we got some initial information, some possible vendors, and I think Ms. Steffen's going to go back and get a little bit more information. And then we got 2023 financial update highlights, and things went well. So
Thank you, Mr. Gurley.
Yep.
Mr. Capel,
Nothing tonight.
Mrs. Cooper,
Nothing tonight.
Mr. Martin,
Nothing this evening.
Mr. Marinath.
Yes, we had a fire board meeting January 11th at 6. Basically what we've decided to do is start putting the chief's report into the council packet. So we get a high level review as to the hot spots and everything else. We did make a notable change to the time. It'll now be on the first Thursday of each month at 6:30 as opposed to the second Thursday at 6. So moving forward, we will be seeing a little bit later. As far as anything notable, we were discussing the architects, nothing official has been decided at this point in time. We were also discussing about what to do with the old rescue and looking at ways of either selling it, donating it, finding out I guess the prices, what we could sell it for. So that's all I have.
All right, great. Thank you very much. All right, we're on to the police report. Chief Howard?
Thank you, Mayor. Only thing I really want to hit on is the first topic there. We had all the training for all the departments. Ms. Cooper showed up for the CPR training, first aid. We had a really good turnout with 32 employees being CPR certified now. So I want to thank Lieutenant Jivitin and Lieutenant Gannon from the Delaware County EMS for coming and doing that for us. And if you have any questions on anything else on here, I'd be happy to answer those.
Any questions for the police? It's a great update. Thank you.
Thank you.
I got a sneak peek this afternoon at our second Silverado upfitted. And this one has side light bars. It's amazing. You're gonna love it. Can't wait to show it off.
Mayor, can I interrupt one second? I'm
Go ahead.
sorry. Was I supposed to do something with the committee assignments there under
No.
committee report? No. I saw that and I thought,
Sorry, I skipped over you, didn't I?
no, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think, was there an exhibit
Yeah, there, I don't know what exact page it's on, but I did see it in here.
right after the fire report, maybe?
Yeah, packet page 6.
Page 6, okay. So I don't, if everyone had a chance to, I know I've talked to several of you, but hopefully you've had a chance to review the committee assignments. As I did my best to try to meet requests or where I thought people could have some excellent opportunities. And so hopefully everyone feels the same. I know it's an impossible task to make everyone 100% happy, but I think the things outstanding, talking to Daryl, originally we thought about the charter review, and I think I had mentioned a couple names, but Daryl, it sounds like we need to pause that for a brief moment.
Yeah, just make sure we've got an understanding what needs to be accomplished in 2024.
Right.
And then I think we'll have a better sense of who needs to be a part of that
Okay.
review or a part of that committee.
All right, so I think the way that it's the charter, I believe, or the council rules are structured, what you say goes. So
Okay.
we abide.
Okay. All right. There we go.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're on to the administrator report.
All right, so just a couple of things quickly. We'll talk about the state of the city address here at the end of the meeting. If you haven't seen, we do have the latest version of the Sunbury Parkway District Plan. It is out for the public to and stakeholders to review. So we would expect some feedback from those folks by the end of the month. And then at that point, I and maybe some members of the steering committee will work with the consultant to make some final tweaks. And then we'll get MS consultants in front of city council to present their findings with respect to the Sunbury Parkway District Plan. We'll talk a little bit later about what would be the additional steps after that, but for the time being, we'll focus on getting the plan ready and getting it in front of you. And then the other thing I've got in here, we did submit a Tree City USA application at the end of 2023. I just want to note that that's been approved by the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, forwarded on to the Arbor Foundation. I just think it's really interesting and impressive. Alyssa went through all of the zoning applications that had been, or certificates that have been approved, building permits that have been approved, and counted the number of trees in all of those lots. And we have over 500 trees planted in the city of Sunbury last year. And so as a result of that, we're going to be nominated for an award in Ohio. I don't know if we get it or not, but we might be nominated. We might receive an award from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. So stay tuned.
Thank you.
That's it. Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Hennis? All right, we're on to the engineer's report. Mr. Whited.
Good. That was quick. Is this on?
Sure.
Good. Not a whole lot to report today. Reservoir project is still in construction, although the weather is, for obvious reasons, slowed us down a little bit. Slowed them down a little bit. As far as the wastewater plant goes, we have submitted the anti-DEG application or anti-DEG information to the EPA. And thank you for the approval authorization of the tertiary filter last meeting. We are in process of designing tertiary filters, going hot and heavy on that. We're working also on the Low Walnut Creek Interceptor, making some progress with that. And Daryl, we'd like to sit down with you and have a few conversations on where we stand on that. It's about time to do an update, and anybody else is welcome to join that conversation. In stormwater utility, we're gearing back up on that in answer to the mayor's requests, particularly looking at legislation and enforcement on erosion sediment control issues as we go forward with construction for that, those sorts of things. Zoning codes, we met with Alyssa last week, began talking about working on zoning issues related to the Sunbury Parkway district code district plan, and talking about how to implement some zoning issues related to that into the west side, start talking about that as well, sort of gearing up before we get too far into the plan. Granville Street family development departments on Granville Street, Sunbury Commerce Park Apartments. They have requested a pre-construction conference. So we'll do that early February, probably start construction late February, early March with underground, and proceed into that, probably a 6-month process or so before we'll start with vertical construction on that. Not a whole lot of other things have changed, although we've continued discussions on some changes in Kintner Crossing. You'll probably see that come back before Planning and Zoning Commission, and I would think the council with the changes, I believe they're significant enough to come back before you to see what they're doing with their changes. And I did want to report back to you on some discussion items from our last council meeting on Magnolia and Price Ponds related to the Legacy Trail. They have gone, we did a walkthrough on that and are looking at finally getting that going forward. They're starting construction again. Weather's kind of holding it up, but they're moving forward with that and do some prep work in anticipation of doing the actual construction early spring. Hope to have it done early summer. So that it's exciting to see that moving forward. And as well as a connection from Magnolia Park into that trail, which will need to include a boardwalk because of some wetlands that we'll need to cross. Probably not a real long boardwalk, about 30-40 feet, somewhere in that range, maybe a little less. And the streetlights at Magnolia Park, still not energized. I have asked them to keep me informed. I've talked to them about every other day and still haven't gotten that part that's needed to get those energized, but hope to have that done soon. I'll let you know as soon as that happens.
Thank you.
Hopefully very soon. Right-of-way permits, there has not been a lot of that taking place. There's only 2 over the last time frame since our last council meeting. That's all I've got. Happy to answer any questions.
I've got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
The Granville Street multi-development, Sunbury Commerce Park.
Mhm.
Is there a picture of that? How that's gonna look?
Yes, there is. I don't have it with me. I'd be happy to send you something.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in what that's gonna look like.
I'm not sure what I have in the way of renderings of the actual buildings. I'm sure I've got something though in the files. I'll dig some information. Certainly
Nice,
have
brick.
site development plans.
It's brick. I remember Tim advocated for that pretty
Right.
strongly.
I'll put together some information and get it emailed over to you.
Is it all brick?
I don't have that information, but
Because I'm sure it shows the commercial area as well.
All that I've got is for the apartments themselves, that on both sides of Granville Street.
Okay,
I'll send you what I've got.
okay, that'd be great. And I've
Okay.
got two other questions. Is there any movement on where Vernon Street meets Columbus Street? There is that, there, I want to call it a pothole, but it's a very large area where the street has just not been repaired properly and causes cars to bottom out.
I don't have anything on my list that I'm remembering. Is Jacob, have we looked
Yeah,
at?
are you referencing the issue in terms of, the outstanding pavement work that we do need to do on that portion of Vernon Street? We saved that for this year's street program pending, some additional work done on, what am I trying to say? Survey work and the like. So, I mean, if there's a temporary fix, let me at least look into that, but.
I was just
Yeah, we-
wondering if that has been, if, I know there's been some temporary repairs, but they don't seem to work.
Okay. All right.
And then just one other thing, I know, Cherry Street has been an issue. There's been a couple major accidents as Cherry Street comes up onto the square. I don't know if anybody introduced any ideas for, safety strips or caution strips there.
So that is a topic that we've got in front of our traffic working group, but no solutions have been identified at this point.
It is under consideration.
We have been looking at that. Actually, I'm having a meeting tomorrow, and that's one of the topics of discussion with that I will be bringing to the traffic working group later in the week. I believe we have a meeting this week on traffic working group meeting this week. Whenever the next meeting
Might
is.
be next week.
Maybe it's next week.
Yeah, it's usually Thursdays, so it's,
Okay.
yeah, it's definitely not tomorrow.
Okay, so next Thursday.
Yeah.
That is one of the many items on our lists. Yes,
Thank you.
sure.
also on the image request, if you have any image requests or meeting requests, staff can meet with you. Dan, obviously Daryl, but Alyssa, Alex, they all have access to the most recent versions. Back to the thing we were talking about with Dana, like the version history, the most recent version, including renderings and approvals and timelines and all that.
Okay.
I'd be happy to go through any questions you have and just answer any general questions you have. If you want to sit down sometime, cup of coffee and go through list of questions you have, and I can provide you any background information as follow-up.
Okay, or if it was online, a website, I could just go there.
Okay.
But that's okay. It's just, that's okay. I was just wondering if there was a rendition of it. I'd
Okay.
kind of like to see what I
Okay.
mean.
I'll pull that out.
Okay.
Dave, I know you're a longstanding council member. That goes for you too. You can also request meetings if you want to see exhibits.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Love. Any other questions for Mr. Wood? All right, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Later on to resolutions. Third reading resolution number 2023.37, a resolution authorizing the execution of a working agreement with the Delaware Soil and Water Conservation District. Third reading, looking for an approval.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilman Martin. Second. Second by Councilman Capel. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper. Yes. Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mr. Neff,
Yes.
Ms. Strayer,
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
7 yeas.
All right, no second readings, no first readings, ordinances, no third readings. We have a second reading. This is the last ordinance, ordinance number 2024.03, an ordinance approving the application of Pulte Homes of Ohio LLC to rezone approximately 84.97 plus minus acres of property located to the west of Interstate 71, south of US 36 State Route 37, and east of 3Bs and a K Road from not zoned to planned residence district pursuant to the city of Sunbury zoning code. I believe also, it looks like the emergency language was removed from this at the request of the developer, which is appreciated. Thank you. And I think they are looking for a suspension of the rules. This has been in process for probably 6 or 7 months. So I think they're ready to move forward. Any additional context from staff?
No, all correct. We did receive a written request that we don't need the emergency, but we would request you pass it to tonight's reading. That would allow us to meet our timetable. So the emergency language was removed.
Thank you. Any questions for staff or for the developers?
You're gonna think I'm crazy, but I just have one. What's your HOA fees?
Excuse me?
Your HOA fees?
Matt Callahan with Pulte Homes. I don't know that question off the top of my head. I'm gonna just guess. They're probably gonna be somewhere in the $600 to $700 a year range.
A year?
Yeah. It'll be a little bit higher here just because of the amenity package, and the need to maintain those items that are contained within the amenity package, but that's a typical average for a typical community.
I might add as well, David Fisher, Kepler Fisher, here on behalf of the applicant. Recall when we made our presentation at the hearing, we stated that we've merged these two communities together, which should help to keep the fees lower because you have more people sharing in the overall cost of those amenities.
Any other questions?
I'll make a motion to suspend the rule.
Got a motion to suspend the rules?
I'll defer to Murray.
Okay, second by Mr. Neff. The motion was made by Mr. Martin. Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Neff,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper.
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Ms. Strayer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
7 yeas.
Motion on ordinance 2024.03.
Got a motion by Councilman Martin and a second by Mr. Neff. Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Neff,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper.
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Ms. Strayer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
7 yeas.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, no other ordinances. We are on to new and unfinished business, Board of Zoning Appeals, applicant interviews. I believe we had 3 interested parties. It looks like we have 1 applicant here, and that is Mr. Ryba, in person. We don't have
Yes,
any. Go ahead.
so that's right, Mayor. We did reach out to all 3 applicants. Mr. Ryba is available to meet today. The others, we did send them a link, but we don't seem to have them online. So I don't know. I mean, perhaps we hear from Mr. Ryba tonight. We may want to try to get the other 2 back in the room. They were just not available to be here this evening. Or if you want to proceed, you can do that as well. So we do have Mr. Martini in the pool. You'd asked about him the last time, so he has confirmed he wants to be considered. Ben Whitman, who is a current member of the board, and Mr. Ryba, who is a former member of our planning commission. So
And it's for just one seat?
or 2 positions.
2 positions.
Yeah.
These are 3-year positions.
Full terms. Yep.
All right. All right, I'd ask Mr. Ryba to come up and just introduce yourself, explain to us why you're interested. Longtime representative on the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Yes, Rick Ryba, 261 Butterfly Drive. Most of you know me, Mr. Strayer, you don't, probably the other one, but just to give you a kind of brief background, I've been involved since I've been here. I moved to Sunbury in 2015. Started with the Sunbury Meadows Community Development Authority in 2017, was appointed by the commissioners, which is now an issue because of the way the charter's written, which is not how it was intended, because I was part of that charter commission as well.
We're working on it.
Yes. Was on planning and zoning since 2019 through the end of 2023. Also on Republican Central Committee, Sunbury E. And I love Sunbury, and kind of the thing that's really brought me to get involved is trying to make Sunbury a better place. Is it a better place from when I first came here? That's one of the things I looked at in zoning, kind of looking at it I've actually learned quite a bit. I was actually prior to Sunbury, I lived in Genoa Township, was on zoning there. It was a lot different there on zoning from coming here. But one of the things I've learned is you really have to just look at it. How does it make the community better? Developments like what they're doing with the amenities, Pulte, it's definitely a place that people can come together, and that's what you want, to try and bring people together. And that's what I'd like to continue on BZA. It'll be a lot different, but I know the zoning code. I was on zoning before we had BZA, so it came to zoning, well aware of what's needed. And I think that'd be an easy fit for it and be able to take care of whatever needs are needed in BZA.
Thank you, Mr. Ryba. Do we have any questions for Mr. Ryba? Any questions, Mr. Capel, Ms. Dreyer for Mr. Ryba?
How long were you on the Galena or Genoa
Genoa?
BZA? Yeah.
It was about 3 years. I was on Genoa's.
What was their main focus during that time?
Residential with low density, almost no commercial, and definitely no multifamily. Not very different.
Anything over on this side of the table? Mrs. Cooper? Mr. Moore?
No, I just appreciate, because I've known you for a long time now and you've always been happy to help. So I appreciate you coming tonight and appreciate you when you knew when the just couldn't be on zoning anymore, that you immediately were like, how can I help? So I appreciate that.
Did you mention you were on the Charter Commission? You were on the Charter?
I was on Charter.
Okay.
Sunbury
Quite a resume you got there.
steering committee as well.
Right.
Yes.
Lots of unpaid manpower time.
Thank you. The difference to Genoa did pay on zoning.
Thank you, Mr. Ryba.
Yep.
We will be in touch. All right. All right, let's see what else we have here. I think what I'd like to do is maybe go just state of the city address. I'll give a brief update, and then we'll go around the horn, new and unfinished business, and then potentially end with an executive session. Okay.
Just one reminder, Mayor, from the Finance Committee meeting, we did want to take action on, the asset. How would we frame this?
Asset management company?
The selection of an asset management company. Up to an amount not to exceed, as we discussed. So, again, whatever order you want to take that in.
I'll try to make that motion first while I've got it top of mind. Mr. Green, help me.
And I'm sorry, I was having my mind on something else. What do we know?
So in the Finance Committee meeting, there was a briefing for the group in terms of the asset management contract options. Yeah, yes. And there were 3 options, pricing options. Ms. Steffen reviewed those with the board. I think they're comfortable with an up to not to exceed amount, and then allow staff to sort of finalize the preferred contractor, making sure that we've got 100% coverage for what's required to convert to GAAP-based accounting. There is some time sensitivity to it, and that was the reason to try to expedite it this evening.
This is for asset management planning?
Asset management valuation. Valuation.
Oh, asset management valuation.
Yeah.
And what's the not to exceed number?
26,500.
27,000.
So it sounds like we need a motion to approve asset management valuation services at a cost not to exceed $27,000 with 100% coverage for.
Basically ensure that we've got, well, go ahead, Dana, maybe you'll say.
For Gap County.
Yep.
With the provider to be approved by administrative staff following final review.
Yep. Well stated.
I'll make the motion.
Village. I'll second that motion.
Second by Mrs. Cooper. Discussion. Roll call.
Mayor St. John?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Grumney?
Yes.
Mr. Neff?
Yes.
Ms. Dreyer?
Yes.
Mr. Capel?
Yes.
7 yeas.
They didn't teach you that in college. That's street smart right there. Thank you.
No problem. But what I did want to bring up before I forget, do we also, unless I missed it, still need to have council approve the representative to the planning zone commission? Yeah,
Yep.
it was on the list, but it's actually a council approval and they got a meeting.
That's right.
Correct. So I think,
I think we're gonna go into executive session
Oh,
and
okay.
discuss BZA and planning and zoning to be explicit about topics. Right. All right, I'll hit on the state of the city. I'm really excited about the state of the city this year. This is gonna be the first time that we have the state of the city in person, broadcasting a large forum. We're holding it at the Big Walnut High School. The information is listed on the agenda, but January 30th, 6 p.m. You can show up at 6 p.m. I believe we're really gonna kick off probably around 6:30. But we are gonna have light refreshments and, we're gonna have color guard, and I'm gonna say it on record, so it's gonna happen now. We're gonna have color guard and somebody sing the Star Spangled Banner. We're gonna have John Grumney speak for the majority of the time, and I'll wrap it up.
No, sir, they're singing the Star Spangled Banner.
We've got a pretty good RSVP list. We did send out some invitations direct to folks that maybe don't have social media, or we felt like, maybe we communicate with them infrequently enough that it would take a direct communication. But this is an event that's open to the public. I think it's going to be all ages, anybody's welcome, and there's going to be a lot of good information. We have a lot to be proud of. The first part of the meeting is going to be focused on 2023 accomplishments. And just to give you a little bit of flavor of this, we also had the city retreat last year. The consensus document was formed around our strategy. And when reading back into that strategy and what we've accomplished so far, I mean, in just such a short amount of time, I mean, really in like 6 months, especially towards the tail end of last year, we've definitely pivoted, I think, in the right direction, and a lot of work by staff and this council to be proud of. But we're also going to talk about the vision and where we're going, and a lot of topics that don't get aggregated all the time, like growth and infrastructure and housing and development and relationships with schools and county. Hopefully we'll have some state and federal representatives there as well. And really looking forward to it. So please join me.
And I have a question for Mr. Breen. Is there an issue with there being a quorum there?
So this is actually a council meeting. This is a report that's
Okay.
delivered by Revised Code to you as council.
All right.
So we do need to have a show of hands. We do need a quorum to be there, to have the meeting. Is there anybody that's not planning to attend? Not a regular council meeting tonight? Really awkward to raise your hand right now.
Who doesn't support the state of the city?
Right, exactly. It'll be a roll call. I mean, it won't be, it'll be a truncated, as far as the formalities of a normal meeting. It won't look like a normal meeting. We are gonna have to make sure we notice it, and we'll be broadcasting it and so forth, so.
Staff was aware of this going into that question. Maybe I should have led with that. This will be a formal meeting, but Daryl and Dave are working on that in Amber. Good
We
call
didn't
out.
miss it.
Great, thank you. Excellent.
I thought John was gonna talk more, but I'll still be there.
All right, we also have, excuse me, we also have Betsy Goldstein speaking. The city is co-sponsoring, co-hosting an event with the Sunbury Big Walnut Chamber. That is next Wednesday at the high school auditorium. And again, free to the public. Please come out. By the way, I've seen some things on social media. I hate social media, where folks are like, maybe this is like a recruiting event. I'm going to talk to Betsy. Betsy does not work for Intel. I want to be really clear. She's just aggregated public information and put it into a format that I think I can understand. And if I can understand it, I guarantee you can understand it. So it's a really good presentation, a 1 hour fast hit. You hit on a lot of different topics and talk about the impact of Intel, Honda, LG, battery plant, and Starlab. All right, hope to see you there. All right, with that said, let's go to new and unfinished business. Any new or unfinished business, Mr. A?
Not yet.
All right, Mr. Grundy, Mr. Cowell, Mr. Cooper.
I don't, but I have to just tell you a very quick funny story that last night my daughter had a nightmare. She was telling me about it this morning. She said that there was a clown underneath her bed, which is terrifying. And she said, but it was okay because you came into the room and all of council came with you and were scared the clown away. So thanks, guys. Always having my back. Oh, awesome. So thank you. No business tonight.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Mr. Martin, keep
Who
on
would
it.
compete with that? I don't have any.
I'd like to give a shout out to our streets department clearing off the roads, doing a great job, and to all of the developers getting out there, making sure the roads were cleaned. That was really good.
Yeah, that's a big
Thank you.
improvement.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, great job. Daryl and team, Matt, Jim Olin, the new developments that haven't been, assumed by the city yet. We saw them out in force this week. I also wanted to give some recognition, while we're giving that out. Right now, hey, thanks for taking the lead on, reaching out to Dana after our last meeting to get the OpenGov due diligence discussion going. I think you two met. I never heard that discussed, but I know you and I talked. I know you had a better understanding of it. It's also spurred on some of this additional dialogue. Plus, the guy who was here tonight flew in from Philadelphia. I mean, I can
Wow.
say that was purely because of Murray Ness' effort. We want to keep it going.
Can't
on
wait
the
to
record?
see what you're gonna do in the next 2 weeks.
So Mayor, just one thing, we do have the January 31st meeting.
We do.
So that's the 5th Wednesday of the month. Do we generally do a motion on that? I'm trying to remember.
It's
Only
supposed to
if
be
we-
by default.
Oh, by default, yeah, we don't have a meeting. That's right.
We have to have a motion if we're not gonna have the meeting.
I mean, at this point, I do anticipate business for that evening, so
You do?
we
So
do.
we have to be at a thing on when, the 30th and the 31st?
2 meetings.
4 official
Back to
meetings.
back.
You're pushing your luck.
That's.
Understand. All right, thank you.
But if there's needs to be business, yeah, we'll do it.
All right, thank you, Dave. Thanks. I appreciate it. Anything else, Daryl? Anybody else you want to have sex? All right, thank you very much. All right, I'd like to make a motion that we go into executive session per Ohio Revised Code 121.22G1 to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public official or employee.
Second.
Second by Mr. Capel. Discussion, I will say, we will be coming out of council and most likely will be taking action on some of these personnel issues. All right, roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mr. Ayer,
Yes.
Mr. Neff,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper. Yes. Mr. Martin.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, I believe we'll need Mr. Bream, Mr. Hennessy, and